गणपतिगं हवामहे प्रियानान्त्वा प्रियपतिगं हवामहे निधीनान्त्वा निधिपतिगं हवामहे वसो मम आहमजानि गर्भदमात् त्वमजासि गर्भदम् ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। Greetings to all of you for the 62nd Republic Day of this blessed Bharata. We pray to the divine power presiding over this blessed land to infuse purity and creativity in their intellects so that they can do justice to the Ganatantra they have chosen for themselves. Friends, I was supposed to greet you for the New Year 2011. We had planned like that, and I was preparing for that. I came specifically for that a day before the New Year's. I was supposed to come to you on the 6th. You might have received a previous invitation also. And on the New Year's Day, the sadhakas come to see me, meet me. I was trying to greet that day as I always do any day by offering my adorations to the rising sun. Perhaps this was the first time in the Uma Varasad Ashrama near Gandhi Nagar. And I was not sure whether I'll be able to see the rising sun from the ashrama terrace. So on the 31st morning I was trying to rehearse. I very wrongly calculated that maybe at 7 o'clock it may come. I didn't want to miss it. So I had gone 7:15 on the terrace. You may recall 1st January was very, very cold. Even in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. So I was walking up and down to see where this flush of red will probably usher in the Lord of the Day. That vantage point, walking up and down the terrace, half an hour, till 7:30 I was walking. So much I exposed myself to the cold, I fell ill. So ill that I could not justify even the New Year's Day gathering, much less the 6th scheduled meet here in Kama Court. Some people are wondering, should I have done that foolish thing? But it is an obsession with me. I want to confess to you all. Somehow without greeting the sun, I feel lost in the day. Whatever day, particularly a significant day, a very important day. It was all right in a rural setting. In my childhood, I could do it. But in the college, in the cities, surrounded by these concrete towers all around, it was a great problem. But somehow I managed to locate overhead tanks, climb the iron staircase leading to it, go to the top of it, and make my tryst with the rising sun. It was an obsession. But soon I realized that it is a very precious possession. It was not an obsession. Because I came into contact with the Vedic literature and I discovered that this obsession even our rishis had. And they utilized it and wove a very intricate fabric of vision of life based upon the sun. Many of you who are conversant with the Vedic literature know profuse verses in adoration of the sun, describing what the sun is and discovering in the sun whatever secret of life you want to know. The Aparavidya, the Paravidya. So it is a philosophy of life, a vision of life, which the sages saw in the sun. It was not nature worship, it was not just an emotion. It was a source of inspiration. And they gave it to us. They gave it to us as the seed of the Vedas. Most of you will recognize the Gayatri Mantra, dedicated to Savita, Aditya. These names, the Creator, the Uniter, He who unites, He who avoids division, Aditya, Prasavita, He who creates. These were the names invoked for the sake of not only beginning a day, beginning a serious pattern of life. That is, when a Vedika Putra begins his education, he is initiated into the Gayatri Mantra, then the education begins, whatever education it is. So it was common to all, almost mandatory, though it was not forced. But that is the tradition, that's our custom. So I used to wonder, it's a very simple prayer. Tatsavitarvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. That magnificent brilliance of the source of all our life, the sun. We meditate upon that so that we may be inspired in the intellect. It's a pure prayer for inspiration. Now this is the basic, not only for education, for entire life building. I used to wonder, what is the basic inspiration? Because this is common to all. We know that yes, man needs inspiration. Every one of us seek inspirations. Even to make the daily menu, I think you need an inspiration, is it not? So there is a domestic inspiration, there is a scientific inspiration, there is a poetic inspiration. That's a technical inspiration. There was one very holy saint Swami Ishwarananda Giri, at whose feet I sat in the beginning of my sadhana. He used to tell his experience when he went to Germany to preach Vedanta and teach meditation. In the meditation class, it says one German came and told him, I have a problem, Swami. Can you solve it? What is your problem? He thought some divorce or something like that. Is it about the domestic scene or the office? Said, no, I practice meditation. Ajahn, you practice meditation? Yes, in that only I have a doubt. What do you do? I sit in Padmasana, and he sat in Padmasana in front of him, right there. It was a perfect Padmasana. And then I control my breath like this. And then I meditate upon a point of light. Alright. Then what happens? I get beautiful ideas of helicopters. This Swami asked, what do you do? I am a helicopter engineer. That's very good. And that is good, Swami, but I want to progress beyond the helicopter. How am I to go beyond the helicopter? What I want to say, he says, inspirations are needed for everybody. What is the inspiration that this solar brilliance gives to all people before he knows whether he's an engineer or he's a doctor or what? What is that inspiration? I put this question to myself. I have never discussed this with scholars. Maybe it is mentioned somewhere. I have not come across any bhashya on the Gayatri. What is this prachodana? That is common to all. The basic prachodana. I came to the conclusion that inspiration is called faith. Shraddhavan Sarvam, not only Jnanam, Sarvam. Gita is Jnana context, so Gita defines Shraddha, faith. This is basic to all human aspiration and achievement. If you want to follow a cultural tradition and achieve something, it is worth achieving. As I was quoting to you now, after explaining what that faith is, Shraddhamayoyam Purushaha. Faith is the essence of man, a very human being, a deeply inlaid essence. Shrad Hridi Dharyate iti Shraddha. Something very deep within him. What he becomes, what he achieves depends upon what faith he has, what extent, what depth, what purity of faith. And then of course Gita goes on to explain Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara sayyatendriya, how to exercise and develop that faith, that process. A man who has faith in himself, first of all, faith in the goodness of the object he is addressing himself to, the occupation he is addressing himself to, he alone will be able to understand labhate jnanam, a clear concept of what I am and what this is. That is how a child grows, is it not? Primarily it is what this is. Whatever comes it will take hold of. Try to understand what it is. It has a faith that it is worth knowing. It is something very wonderful. Have you seen the look in the eyes of a child? Everything that comes, a great wonder. And what utter absorption in that. That's the Lakshana of Shraddha. But this is what nature has given. What we get from the sun is the faith that we develop. We receive as the gift of God. Life itself is the gift of God. You prove yourself worthy of that gift by developing this faith in you. Faith in the giver of life. Somebody told me, I came across this, and he quoted this. Every child born certifies that God has not lost hopes of mankind. Even if it is a test tube baby, you don't produce it. That child is a gift of God. It comes to assure you that God wants man to live. So when I see the sunrise, I think that was what is inspiring me. That this is the assurance that God wants me to live at least for one more day. This little small beginning of faith is enough to sustain me. If it can sustain me for one day, it can sustain me throughout my life. So I want to go again and again and see the sunrise every day. Because the longest journey needs but one single step, is it not? I don't deserve to use the day unless I receive it from the Dinakara. Our concept of sun is that. Dinakara, he brings the day. He makes the day. Unfortunately, when I use the word faith, people have very peculiar, they attribute peculiar meanings to it. Some connotation, I don't know. Maybe it's in the natural, everyday dialogue or what. Usually people think faith is belief. Commonly they say. And naturally a belief can be betrayed by anything. Just a twist of time or a twist of circumstances. Your belief can be betrayed. Faith can never be betrayed. It is the fundamental foundation of life. I will just go a little further and say it is the foundation of creation. It cannot betray. Faith is that inward eye by which we come to know and accept a thing without actually knowing it fully. without actually seeing it. It is a seeing without seeing. You cannot explain it, you cannot logically support it, but you know it is there. That is what we call Shraddha. So our masters have made it very clear, Shastras have made it very clear. What is Shraddha? Astikya buddhi. Astikya buddhi. Asti. Asti in Sanskrit means is. Astikya buddhi, pertaining to what is. So the buddhi knows there is a great good in this. What good I don't know. So Shraddha sees the truth. Is. It is. So it cannot cease to be. Nasato vidyate bhavo. That which is can never cease to be. So that is the question of disillusionment. That is the question of mistaking it. It is. So astikya buddhi can never be deceived. If it is astikya buddhi. So it sees there is something and then it gives you the motivation and the force to move towards it and know clearly. You get the point? There is a reality there and then you realize it. There is a vision of truth and then you move towards it. This will be a successful life. This will be achievement. From this we can understand Shraddhamayoyam Purusha. I don't know, even scholars sometimes commit this mistake. Yes, Shraddha is blind if it does not stick to logic, if it is not according to logic. Shraddha knows no logic at all. But it is of such a nature that it can never go against logic. Because what is can never go against logic. Because all your logic is based upon what is it not? You draw your own deduction, induction, all these things. The steps for the tarka is built upon what you see. So logic can never go against Shraddha, but Shraddha does not take help of logic. A child can't do it. So it is beyond logic, but not against logic. Whereas belief can be against logic also. No. That is how you should differentiate. You believe in this man. Why you believe? No reason at all. Maybe because he has a nice tilaka on his forehead. Illogical, no? Nalingam dharmamaho, Bhashikara says in one place. These external signs do not certify that that person has what it signifies. Because he is wearing it outside. So the story of a man who had a cock with him, some hens also, chicken, but he particularly loved that cock. He called it Pappu. He was so fond of it that when the Pappu died, in a road accident, a car ran over it and died. He was inconsolable, devastated. He was telling, now what will happen when Pappu has gone? People said, why are you making such a racket? It's a cock, you can get a... What do you mean it's a cock? What is going to happen to us? Nothing is going to happen. What do you mean? If my Pappu is not there and Pappu does not crow in the morning, the sun will not rise at all. If the sun will not rise, what is going to happen to us? Don't you know that whenever it crows, the sun rises? Now what do you call this? Belief. Unfortunately, many of these sectarian religious beliefs are like that. वहां जाओ माथा टेको तुम्हारा काम हो जाएगा. This is not faith at all. Compared to that, see what the poet says, Rabindranath Tagore. Faith is the bird which sees light and sings when the dawn is still dark. Faith is the bird which sees the light when it is dark and sings. Particularly in Abu, I have felt it, and sometimes even after knowing all this, I used to wonder. At 4 o'clock they start this noise. Of course it's nice, sweet, it's not noise. But why is this bird singing when there is darkness? For me it is darkness, for it is light. It has seen the light and it is singing. We see it later on. The name of that bird is faith. I don't know, it may be actually seeing the light or it receives intuitions of the light. Some sparsha, some change in the temperature, something, I don't know, we don't have that beautiful mind of the bird. We think we are very clever. Our senses are very dull. We somehow manage with instruments. Yes, faith thrives upon intuition. So I apply this sentence, I apply it in my own way. Instead of the bird, I use the mother. Faith is the mother who sees a strong, successful man in the hapless child lying on her lap. Faith is the mother who sees in the child a successful man. He sees, she sees, and she succors the child. So when she succors the child, that faith, this is the beautiful thing, this is the man. He becomes a man. So that faith is fed through the milk of the mother. If the child didn't get that, maybe he will not be successful in spite of all your computers and management courses. Faith is given to you in life. It comes to you. It is not your imagination. It is not your creation. So living in faith comes natural to you because she who gives you life gives you faith. So what is wrong if I say if God created the world, He creates faith for you? Though we don't recognize it, we don't discover it. We will discover. That will be sadhana. So from various sources of life, just as you get the sunshine and the winds and the waters, just like the fauna and flora all around you, streams of faith come to water your life. They sustain your faith. You have to build upon it. Just as you eat your food and then you utilize that energy to grow more food, to discover more things within yourself. You have to digest that food, is it not? You have to exercise that sustenance, is it not? That will be living in faith. In our tradition, we believe in the changing of ages. Life is changing, life is changing. But on a cosmic scale also we find there is an order in the change also. Can you discover an order in the change in your life? No. You just live, grow. If you have faith, you will have an order in that also. We believe in 4 ages, is it not? Most of you know. Satyuga. द्वापर में कैसे जाते हो? I told you there is an order. Satya, Treta, Dwapara and oh, so dear to us. I just looked at it from that viewpoint. What is the meaning of these changes? Or Gautam Bhai will be able to tell you, actually measure and tell you how many years of Satyuga, how many years. So Purana mein diya hua hai. They have measured the ages. So like the day and night coming, and we are able to say much earlier, 2011 morning, when will the sun rise? It was my fault, I didn't see the almanac. We can say, because there is an order. It comes according to the order. These yugas also come according to order. I have a feeling that faith has something to do with that. These changes of time are also according to the supply of faith. If faith is sustained by natural forces, by the human society, by the griha, the family, the group that is immediately responsible for your life, the family, and if anything goes wrong with this also, there is a ruler, there is a Raja, there is a Netha, there is a Guru. I think when all these 4 sources of faith fail, it is Kali Yuga. Naturally, elements are all polluted. Society has disintegrated. Where is the house? Young people have started asking, is it necessary to marry? And kings are gone. Nethas are no more nethas. They're only gatas. They give you gata. Ya khata. At this time, God has to come by himself hopelessly. Avatara only can come in Kali Yuga. He comes whenever he wants. So all these sources are needed to sustain the faith needed for the success in your life. There is a very beautiful example of Rishi Pippalada in the Sati Yuga. His father, a great Rishi, before he was born, before Pippalada was born, his father chose to sacrifice himself for a particular cause of the gods, Devahitam. He sacrificed himself. When the Rishi's wife came to know that the gods have come and taken him away, because they wanted his backbone, they've taken away. Indra made Vajra out of it. She fainted, and she was full pregnant, 9 months pregnant at that time. When she came to herself, she did so much vilapa that there was a miscarriage. The baby was born. Right under the peepal tree she was sitting. She gave the child to the peepal tree and said, Ma, hey, Ashwatha, take care of him. He died. She died. That peepal tree took care of the child, suckled it. Therefore he was called Pippalada. He who drank the milk of the people and surveyed. Of course, the people came and then brought him up. This is Satyayuga. A mother need not suckle the child. A tree can suckle the child. Infuse that same faith into it. I say even today, a very sincere, true Indian mother places her child at the root of a tree called faith. A tree that has grown into a living tradition. A society endowed with some inherent values. A society that lives by an unwritten law of virtues. A tree that has become a spreading culture. That sustains, irrespective of all the other corruptions. Even today that tree lives. I'm not, don't confuse the issue. I'm not talking about faith in the meaning of religion, no. That's another confusion. Faith means following the tenets of some sectarian religious belief. Usually in English I think they call that only. This has nothing to do with sectarian tag. This culture has no sectarian tag about it. It is faith in the truth of life. It is faith in the truth of that which is. So long as Sanatana Dharma is there, this tree will flourish. In fact, this tree is called Sanatana Dharma. It is living. It's not a sect. There's a story about Kabir in this Kali Yuga in India. You know, he belonged to a weaver class or something like that. A person belonging to that class cannot enjoy the privileges of the pathshalas and things like that. Much less the spiritual upadesha from a great saint, and Kabir was hankering for that. Without Guru, without the Diksha, the inward enlightenment is impossible. Who will ignite that fire within me? Ramananda Swami can do it. He was at that time a very well-known saint in Kashi. But I dare not go in front of him. He comes every day to Ganges to take bath. I see him from the sidewalk. But I dare not go. A modern Kabir would have formed a underprivileged community meeting and give flags and go on shouting, and he might have even gone to the court. He did a very nice thing, very funny thing. He knows that Ramananda Ji gives the Ramanama, and once he gives, the awareness awakens within. I should get the Ramanama from him. By hook or crook. If hook is not there, crook. So he went early morning and laid himself hidden behind a step. You know, in Kashi those steps are there. Kashi steps, you know, if you've gone to. सांड साड़ी सीढ़ी ऐसे इनसे बच के रहना काशी में. फेमस महादेव जी की सांड है ना, सब जगह घूमता रहता है. काशी की साड़ी तो जानते ही हो, योर पर्स विल बी एम्प्टी. ये सीढ़ी, जहाँ जाओगे घाट में सीढ़ी से. So he went and laid himself where he used to come. He knows Maitri. Every day he follows that routine, Ramananda Swami. So khadao. He came, so he lay down there. And that, you know, early morning he comes. In those days, no electric lights also. So Ramananda Swami put his foot upon Kabir, and actually he was almost falling down. Kabir held him. Raman said, Ram, 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 Ram. It's natural, no? Ram, 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 ye kya ho gaya? Kabir said, I have got it, I have got it. He became illumined by that word, by the faith. He got the seed. Sustained by that faith, he became a human man. But he has to get it. You can't like a modern man say, ये सब है ना book में है, book भी जरूरत नहीं है, internet, Google, जाओ, सब मिल जाए. Any mantra in the world, I can get it for you. है ना बालाजी? He did do that. Gurumukh से सुनूंगा. I want to make this point a little clearer. I don't want you to understand that you can do hanky-panky and get all spiritual knowledge. All shortcuts do not work. Many backfire. Compare it with that equally known, perhaps better known example of Karna, Maharati Karna. For most of his lifetime he believed he was the son of a charioteer. Sutaputra. I won't go into the issues connected with that. Why Kunti did it. Actually it was Kaunteya. So he wanted to become a great warrior and defeat Arjuna. Because once he had gone, and Drona refused, you cannot compete with these princes, you are a Sutaputra. So he wanted to fight with him and kill him. He nurtured such a poisonous hatred towards all the Pandavas, particularly Arjuna. But for that he needs that Dhanurvidya. And to get that Vidya he needs a Guru. And then again that Gurus like Dronacharya won't teach him. He went to Parashuram, who was even a greater warrior than Drona. Nobody could stand in front of him except Bhishma perhaps. He went to him, he knew that he would refuse, so he went to him in the disguise of a Brahmin boy. I want to learn this. Oh, come. And he taught him. You know that story. In a very peculiar circumstances, Parashuram discovered that he cannot be a Brahmin boy. Tell me in truth what you are. Parashurama cursed him. You played this deceit on me? This Vidya will not work in the critical hour when it is most needed. Cursed him. Ramananda did not curse Kabir, much less take him to court. This man wanted me to fall down and die. He could have told that. And immediately they would have put Kabir into prison, no? What made Ramananda bless this soul and what made Parashurama curse this soul? What? Huh? Lack of intent. That motivation. Faith was there. He had faith in Parashurama. So you see, the environment is perfect and it is giving you something. You receive it from the society, from your family, from the Guru. But what are you going to do with it? How are you going to approach it, utilize it? What is the motivative force? So here the motivation was so impure, full of hatred. Faith does not work in such an atmosphere. It does not sprout in such a poisonous soil. It does not. So the fruits of the faith are not there automatically. His only intention was to kill that man. Aggressive. Perhaps we infer he hated himself for being a Sutaputra or whatever it is. And I tell you, hating oneself is the most unnatural thing in life. Most unnatural thing. Because the nature of the self is love. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. That is what our rishis have declared. Yajnavalkya, giving his last sermon to the beloved wife, Maitreyi, before he took sannyasa, gives us this beautiful sutra. What is Atma? What is the self? That self which is the love, which touching anything becomes dear. Everything becomes dear and beautiful because the love in the soul touches it. Atmanastu kamaya. And there is no priyata in the world at all. There is nothing beautiful. Everything is ugly. Everything is indigestible. Veritable hell for yourself and for others also. How much talk there is of brotherhood, global village. Do you know what is a village? Of course, you have destroyed villages also. In a village, everybody knows everyone in the village. Everybody knows that there is something wanting there immediately. That's the village, is not. Do you feel like that? Sarvabhuta hite rata. So with all our noise that we make in the media and through all these propagandas, lectures, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, Satyameva Jayate, I don't know if today that would have been uttered by anybody, fluttering in the flag. Satyameva Jayate. Do you believe in this? You can't believe in it unless you believe in yourself, because you are the Satya. If you are not Satya, what Satya are you seeing where? Do you believe in the truthfulness within yourself? Can you use it as a faith? Then you can make the truth win. Without accepting yourself as the truth, even God is untenable. What to say about the world? Because God too depends upon you. Unless you realize God, where is God? Unless you realize God, where is the grace of God? The fruits of the grace of God, all useless. Alpameva, unless you realize that. Yad yajate tapas tapyate tad sarvam alpameva. So the truth is in you. And that has to be realized. You have to move towards that, and that is faith. If you have that faith, Satyameva Jayate, you will win. I want to quote from one scientist, Alfred Whitehead. In Science and the Modern World, he writes, am I exceeding my time, Jahangir?
It's our pleasure. Our privilege, please.
Still I have not coughed, so I will go. That is my bell ringing. Whitehead writes, it's a very significant sentence. Faith in the order of nature, which has made possible the growth of science, is a particular example of a deeper faith Mark the words. Faith in the order of nature is an example of a deeper faith. To experience this faith is to know that our experience, dim and fragmentary as it is, yet sounds the utmost depth of reality. To know that deeper faith, we have to accept this fact that every one of our experience, however mundane, secular it may be, sounds the utmost depth of reality. Utmost depth of reality. That must be the ultimate reality. And that's what we call God. You may not like to use that word. That is why in that very popular series, Star Wars, you have seen that? The good people read each other, may the force be with you. They don't say God bless you. May the force be with you. That is very good. Are you with the force? That is the question. If force be with you, force is with you, otherwise you won't exist at all. That is grace. If you are with the force, that will be faith. Are you faithful to it? And I think that is the theme of the Star Wars, no? You can easily shift to the dark forces. You can easily lose faith and lead a faithless life. Are we with the force? Are we touching the ultimate reality? We may not touch, but we are moving towards it. Every one of our steps is leading to that. Then that step will be a deeper faith. Now that I mentioned the prohibited word God, let me say, God is the perfect example of the perfect faith. Deeper faith. God Himself is the perfect example. I may even say the only example. Why? Because He is the creator. That is our definition, is it not? He creates. Can He create without faith? If He has created without faith, then what He has created is rubbish. Not worth living. Now I must go back to that favorite poet, Tagore. He says something beautiful. Of course, he is saying what the Upanishads say, but he says in his own way. The faith in the seed promises a miracle which it cannot prove at once. The faith which is in the seed promises a miracle which it cannot prove immediately. It will prove only when it has become a big tree. No? Our Shastras also say this. Vatabija kane sukshme mahavatadarur yatha. Vatabija kane, that small grain of a seed inside the fruit of a banyan tree. Vatabija kane sukshme mahavatadarur yatha. That whole tree is there intact. If it is not there, how will it come from that? Kuta ayata. Right? But it will be a miracle if like this and pat, the tree comes. Then that will be a miracle. That's what you call miracle, is it not? From a bag you take and a rabbit comes. Whereas life can do it. From a small stone, a flower can come, but it needs eons for it. A dead planet will become teeming with life. Give it enough time and condition. Life itself is the miracle for God. That is the only miracle. I don't know how even intelligent systems, religions, still continue to believe that God is God only if some miracle happens. One becomes a saint if you prove that he has done a miracle. What has it to do with saintliness? Any crafty man can do it. Any crook can do it. It needs a special power, definitely, to perform these magic acts. Life itself is the miracle, is it not? The seed becoming the tree. That is life. That is God's faith. The whole creation is God's faith proving itself. In a poetic way, we see God wants to see himself and he created. Oh, I am so beautiful. There was a saint who was also an astronomer. So, using the telescope, he used to gaze at the galaxies. Mahina Param de. What majesty of the Lord. What vastness. My Lord, what is the meaning of this vastness? When he slept, the Lord answered him. Many of your answers come when your mind is not working. The answer came to him in the dream. The Lord spoke to him. My child, the greatest distance in this world is not that which you need to traverse to reach the farthest galaxy. That is not the greatest distance. It is the fact that I am always before you and you don't know I love you. This is the greatest distance. I am always there and you don't know that I love you. To traverse this distance, Ananta Koti Janma Marana, the soul is traversing. Once you know this, then the distance goes away. There is a beautiful illustration for this. On Gita Jayanti I gave this to the sadhakas. There is a Puranic story about a Markatasura, an asura in the form of a monkey. He gained a lot of power. He was very intelligent. Even otherwise monkeys are very intelligent, no? Therefore we are proud of claiming our ancestry in it. So Markatasura had mastered everything. So he declared, I am the Lord of the universe. I think all asuras do that, no? I am the Lord of the universe. But all the intelligent people and great people came and told, simply your declaring will not do. The God has to declare this, then it is alright. Where is God? He is in Kailasha. Kailasha is in Tibet, I can go and catch hold of him. It's easy to go to Kailash now. 1 lakh rupees, that's all. They told, this is not the real Kailash, this is who Kailash. Lord Shiva is in the Maha Kailasha. How do you go there? For that you need yoga. Yoga. Internet, find out what is yoga. Oh, Kundalini. I can do the Kundalini Jagriti. So Markatasura invented gadgets, one belt here, To awaken the Mooladhara, one belt here, for the Anahata, one belt here, for the Vishuddha Chakra, one belt here, for the Sahasrara. His Kundalini was awakened. So he went to the Mahakailasa, Merkatasara. Huge, colossal image of Dakshinamurti under a Vata. He told the gods in the holy presence of Lord Shiva, go and tell your master, Merkatasura has come and he wants a declaration from him. I want to meet him, go and tell. They went also, some monkey has come. Surprising how he can come. He seems to be a yogi of yogis. All right, allow him to come. He came in front of Dakshinamurti. What do you want, my child? No child father business here. I just want a certificate from you that I am the Lord of the universe. What is your eligibility for it? Test me? All right. Come. Sit in my palm of the hand. The colossal Lord stretched his compassionate hand. Markatasura said, this God seems to be a stupid fellow. He's allowing me to come so close to him. He just catapulted himself into the palm of Shiva. Now from here you leap. As far as you leap, I will make you the master of all that. You understand? He doesn't know how long I can leap. I will leap to the farthest limit of the galaxies, end of the universe. I will become the master of the universe. So with all his might he leapt through space. And when he landed, there was nothing there. He saw 3 gleaming crystal pillars, pink-colored marble pillars. He said, yes, this is the end of the universe. See now? I'll go and tell him I have covered this desert, but he may ask for proof. So he urinated at one of the pillars. What will an animal do? That is how it marks, no? You have seen the dogs doing it? They are not going for a toilet, they are marking only. And then he jumped back. You see? Dakshinamurti, see what? See, I have gone to the limits of the universe. Give it to me. The Lord showed you, stinking ape. All the while you have been on my palm. You go and smell at the root of my middle finger. That smell of his urine came. The middle finger of the Lord. All the way he has been catapulting on the palm of the Lord only. He couldn't believe it, yes. It was his urine only. He need not have a DNA test or something. He was astonished. All this distance I was doing on his palm. Desperate, he cried, what am I to do? The Lord said, I have placed you in the soul of creation. Go back to your place and discover yourself. That's what you have to do. So with all the discoveries that modern man has made, he is the Markataswara. This Homo sapien ape, with all its gadgets, with all its achievements, he is yet to discover his place in the grand design of the universe. He has a place. And there he has to discover himself. For that he needs deeper faith. Not faith in machines. A deeper faith. That deeper faith will give him the intelligence to grasp that proffered hand of wisdom instead of urinating on it, which we are doing now. Polluting it. Grasp that proffered hand of wisdom and with love claim it. You are mine. Then this distance will go away. The farthest distance of the galaxy is nothing. Goshpadayate. Goshpadayate. Vishwam Goshpadayate. So I finish with one saying of Swami Vivekananda. He is supposed to have told, world religions said, he who did not believe in God was an atheist. The new religion says, he who does not believe in himself is an atheist. I want to add one sentence to it. Going beyond the tension and the temporal divisions of old, new and all this, I want to add, the eternal religion says God is the self. The realization of this truth alone can liberate man, and our faith is in that liberation. In that liberation of the self-consciousness, we'll be loving the world, enclosing it in our embrace, and that will be the ultimate security of this creation. Thank you all for giving me this attention, and most of all, thank you Jahangir Mehru for giving us this beautiful opportunity. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purna Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.